this is your November 25 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, it's your reading. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel. It's Romy. We're going to open up for you this month with the energy of strength. Not only are you finding your spiritual backbone this month, you're also finding your wings. As you come to terms with the fact that you are moving into this version of self, the version that you were always meant to be, it's intense, right? But it also feels lighter in a way. And I think it's almost hard to articulate the energy, but you're definitely feeling it. Now, on the 4th, Mars is shifting into Sagittarius. The same day it's opposite with Uranus. So something kind of unexpected coming in at that early part of the month. And of course, that's leading up to our full moon in Taurus arriving on the 5th. Your strength tells me that, you know, you're looking deeply within to try to see what it is that you're going to need in order to move through this experience that's going on. We want you to still your mind. We want you to look and we want you to listen, because so much is going to be shown and revealed to you. Okay? This is about the way that you now see your value, the way that you now choose to respond. And I think the opportunity to really continue to stay very humbled and leveled through those first few days. You know, there's something auspicious, I feel, coming in with that full moon in Taurus for you, but it's almost like you have to hold your nerve a little bit. You have to allow some things to play out. It feels like that is an important phrase for you. Let it play out, okay? The other thing I want to say to you, you know, early on in November, because I think that there is this intensity that's felt. You know, I think October gave us a bit of a breather. Now we're contemplating the fact that we've just got a few weeks left of this year. I want you to stop being at war with yourself. And I really want you to maybe take some time to consider where that feels true for you right now, right? Because there's a lot of like familiarity and comfort and old ways that are sort of being revisited, but this freshness, this new perspective that you're bringing means that it's not about chasing, it's about having the courage to embrace. But it almost feels to me with that energy of the 5 of Swords that some of the ghosts from the past, or it's almost just like feeling, if I'm going to do this, it's going to ask so much of me, or it's going to create an impact in this way, and it's almost like hard for you to get over. I feel like there's this strong sense of like duty, morality, responsibility that you're kind of grappling with a little bit, and it almost just feels like to assert myself or to go for what I want or to be who I want to be, it feels like there's a cost. And is that cost too high? Is it too much? You know, I would suggest to you that the answer to that is no. The only way forward is to follow that inner being and that soul call. But does that mean it's a path that walks without challenge and discomfort because of the way that it stirs the souls of people around you? I think, you know, that's something that we're having to come into a place of acceptance with, okay? You're honestly returning to healing. You know, like we spiral back around, but wow, I mean, if you look at sort of how far you've come and the ways in which you've changed, you're seeing and feeling things in the month of November that are so kind of almost like you're in awe of in regards to yourself. You've just never understood them from this place before, okay? And it's testament to the wisdom and the growth, right? Which means that other things need to change. Now you've got your King of Pentacles, but she's surrounded by yellow flowers. So it tells me there's an energizing and almost uplifting feeling in regards to the stability that wants to show up. And again, you know, we're going to have Uranus coming back into Taurus on the 7th. right through to April 25th. So that earth energy between the full moon in Taurus and Uranus coming back around, there's something around that that kind of speaks to you, and maybe it helps you to reacquaint and realign with that part of yourself, and particularly where you've done so much work. And I think that reminder is going to be really valuable for you, because you're going to come to realize that actually, you know what, I'm not the same person, and I have put all of this effort in. And that's the point, right? You're going to really comprehend the degree to which your effort is now set to show you the ways in which life is going to change and how things want to start to show up for you. Now, we do have a Mercury retrograde arriving on the 9th in Sagittarius. It will shift into Scorpio on the 18th, okay? So again, all of the usual things that we come to understand with that as a transit are playing out. It's going to be in your 12th house initially, and then circle back into your 11th house. So it almost feels like something that you thought was done, you're kind of going back and reopening and reassessing and looking at it again. Does this still hold something for me? Or, you know, maybe there was closure, but then more news or more information comes to light. And I think that's fair to say with some of the other planets in retrograde right now, that we're still in this kind of returning and clearing and finishing sort of things up before we get to the end of the year. On the 11th, we're going to see Jupiter moving retrograde in Cancer. Of course, we'll also welcome the energy of 1111, and it does feel like there can be something bountiful to tap into. It suggests to me that just take some time and space. Stillness and space is going to be so valuable for you in and around that time, okay? And it's almost just like, I just need to kind of shut out the world momentarily. You might be really feeling that. It's almost like in order to kind of access something that is going to be very specific for you, to help you and to support you, you kind of need to just detach a little bit. And don't be concerned if around that time there's even a little bit of a numbness energy that's around you. You know, it just might feel that there's a little bit of this kind of things landing, you know, from the what you have been through in the entire course of, you know, 2025. It's been a lot, right? And I think that there's this, I'm not sure I can deal with anymore. And I'm not saying it's because more is coming your way. It's just that there comes that moment where you kind of sit down and you're just like, okay, I'm done. But sometimes that's kind of the surrender that we need in order for things to start shifting or showing up in ways that are helpful for us, because then we're not trying to force and we're not trying to control. I also want to say that it's like they don't know the whole story, right? So you may be feeling a little bit put out around that mid-month in terms of the way that people are responding to you over something. Maybe we have to find some forgiveness for their ignorance, because they simply don't have all of the information. Do you need to share that information? No, I don't think you're obligated to whatsoever. But don't then let their energy or their actions or their words cut so deep, because it's coming from a perspective of just not being truly informed. And does their opinion matter, I suppose, would also be the question. You know, you're in 11th house, you're going to be reevaluating friendships, communities, groups, people you're spending time with, and the effect and impact of their presence in your world. Now, on the 15th, we'll see Vesta, asteroid goddess, shifting into your sign. That feels really supportive for you, right? Queen of Cups. It's almost like you're able to, Vesta, remember, sort of takes care of that sacred inner flame, you know, connected into hearth and home. So something very steadying about that, and emotionally nurturing and comforting. So around the 15th and right up into the 19th, where we're going to see that new moon in Scorpio, I think you're going to be able to feel quite open to some of the healing energy that's showing up for you. Now, remember I said to you, it's a spiritual backbone, but it's also about you finding your wings. And so there's something that sort of triggered around the 11th. And then as it moves through to the 19th, puts you in a place of deep awareness and understanding, but actually shows you something quite special, right? It feels like it's almost on its way in, and you understand. It's kind of like, say for example, you feel like I've got to leave, I've got to depart this group, or I've got to no longer be friends with this person, or I need to come off this platform, all these 11th house things that are going to be under review. And then all of a sudden you're shown something different, and it's almost like, that's where I belong, that's where I'm meant to be, that's who I'm supposed to be connecting to right now. So initially things feeling a little bit like challenging to sort of get on board with, but then receiving such strong spiritual directives as to the why, which really support you in your intentions around that new moon, because you become incredibly magnetic at that time. Your Ten of Swords also tells me that you're so done, actually. You're so done with something that the new moon becomes even more powerful, because then you're absolutely crystal clear about what it is that you're going to be focusing your effort on. And I would say that there's one overriding priority that you have in and around that 19th of the month that is just like, okay, I am throwing everything behind this, because this is what I need to see showing up in my life. This is what I'm starting to see emerging, and I want to put more energy and time and dedication into it. And that's super powerful, because remember, the darkest day before the dawn. So there's kind of this sense of simultaneous endings and beginnings coming through at the moment. You do also have this sense of, people just coming at you, and it's almost like, sometimes just someone's voice can just begin to irritate you. So there are things that just feel like the sound particularly is causing quite a lot of, challenge for you to be around on a frequency level. And again, I think you're going to make some pretty powerful choices and decisions about where you're going to continue to allow yourself to show up and be present, and be unapologetic about that, because as you then shift into Sagittarius energy, we know in that 12th house there's this real kind of completion cycle happening for you. And it's like there's things that you just cannot take with you moving forward, and you almost want in November to kind of deal with that. You want to take care of the details now, so that this isn't something that as you're trying to close out the year and just kind of really give yourself that chance to sort of open up to the new things that are showing, that you still feel tethered or responsible or tied into things. So maybe a couple of difficult choices, but actually making perfect sense to you. So, only difficult in the sense that maybe you feel bad, and maybe it's not really in your nature to have to be so sort of direct and honest in terms of what you're about to say or do. But nonetheless, ultimately, the intensity of this month also offers this lightness. And honestly, as you still your mind, you're actually going to see things in such a way that it will be almost impossible to ignore. Kind of like a Pandora's box moment. It's like, okay, like we can't go backwards now. And in Sagittarius season, we're then going to welcome Saturn going direct 27th, Mercury going direct on the 29th. And in and around these dates, it just feels like, okay, now I'm going to have the conversation. Now it's the time. So there's a lot of green light energy that comes in right at the end of November, and I feel like you're absolutely going to take advantage of that, and that it's going to serve you really, really well. Okay. Venus shifts to Sagittarius on the 30th as well, and I think that's helping this bid for freedom in some way. It's almost like you were oscillating backwards and forwards as to the degree that you wanted to commit to something through the course of November, but toward the end of the month, I don't feel that, I don't know, it's just almost like you appreciate and realize how much space you need, how much more time you're needing for whatever it is that this priority that I feel is so in your consciousness. So I think that it's going to be interesting to observe the degree to which you almost like backtrack on something, and maybe that might be a little hard because you feel like you might be making some promises and have to renege on them. Well, so be it. Okay, so be it, because ultimately, you don't want to make the wrong decision. You won't. you won't, but you know, you might just find yourself coming full circle with something. If you're new to the channel, the last 3 cards we're going to look at in my extended reading, I talk for another 25 minutes or so, Capricorn, and we'll look at a personal and a relationship card for you as well. I hope that you'll join me if it's resonating and you're in a position to invest. It helps me to keep showing up to do the free reading, so I really very appreciative. We're just going to go ahead and clarify these cards. We're going to see the direction that we will take this reading for you. Hanged Man we've got coming in, another 10 of Swords. Interesting. Okay, you can check out my website, romywiser.com, if you're after a personal reading, and also all of my seasonal offers that will be coming out through the course of November. So please check out the link below, and all of my sacred titles that are also available. Knight of Cups. What do we have here? 6 of Wands, 2 of Swords. Okay. All of the decks that I use, you'll find listed below as well, Capricorn. Okay. Right, we're going to have a look at Life Soul Vision and just see how it wants to add to the conversation. This is my deck. What do we have? Solar Plexus Energy. We've got that New Moon, Deliberate Intention. We've got the Full Moon, Soulful Surrender. Notable dates for you this month then, right? The 5th and the 19th. Sacred Soul Union. We've got Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadow. And we've got Soul Star Energy, Conscious Connection. Right. Let's pull one more oracle for Capricorn. This is for November 2025. We've got the energy of clairvoyance, inspiration, interpretation, trust. Thanks for being here. Let's talk a little further in the extended. The link is below. I'm going to see you again next time. Take care.